Hello and welcome to the Indiana State Police cable TV program. I'm First Sergeant Dave Burston with the Indiana State Police Public Information Office. I want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule today to join us on the program to learn about what the state police and law enforcement in general does at the Indianapolis 500 to make it a safe event for you. We work in partnership with other police agencies, the Marion County Sheriff's Department, the Indianapolis Police Department, as well, of course, as the Speedway Police Department to make this a safe event for everybody involved. You look around the track, it's a place steeped in history. 1909 is when the facility first opened. The first event actually wasn't an automobile race, but it was a race of a hot air balloon with one of them floating as far away as Tennessee, and that was the winner for the event. So we're going to take a moment here to break away for some important messages for you to hear about before our program starts in earnest. And you're going to meet two people that help make this come off and as a very safe event. Captain Mark Hartman, who you'll be meeting shortly, and also Sergeant Irv Falk.
And as people travel to or from, it may seem like, that's not exactly the route that I want to take. But the bottom line is that planning that we talked about, there is a method here, and
the method to the madness of getting people in and getting them back out.
So be patient with us and realize that we do have a plan, and if you will follow our direction, you will get easily in and easily out, taking into consideration the amount of traffic that we're dealing.
Better think again before cutting in front of that truck. It takes trucks twice as long to stop as cars. There's a no zone in front of that truck. Crashes happen when cars cut in front of trucks. So look for the whole front of the truck in your rearview mirror and signal before pulling in, and then don't slow down. Drive smart. Don't hang out in the no zone.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying tuned and taking time out of your busy day to watch and learn more about what the Indiana State Police does at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Joining me today is Captain Mark Hartman, who is the Central Field Operations Commander and is in charge of the activities that happen here at the Motor Speedway during the month of May, as well as the other two races, the Brickyard 400 and the Formula race that occur during the summer months. Right now, I'd like to introduce Captain Hartman and invite him to tell us a little bit about his career and how you started out with the state police and what your different assignments have been. Captain, the mic is yours.
Thank you for having me here, David.
Good to have
you. I began my career with the Indiana State Police in 1973, shortly after I graduated high school. I was born and raised in the covered bridge capital of the world over in Park County.
Park County, yeah.
That's right. So I was a dispatcher at headquarters, as well as the Terre Haute district. I was fortunate enough to be able to attend a recruit school in 1976, and upon graduation there I spent nearly 3 years working at our Evansville district, transferred back to the Terre Haute district.
Got back to the home area.
There you go. So. Transferred back home and worked the road in Park and Vermilion counties from 1979 to 1987. In 1987, I actually did your job for a while. I was a public information officer for the Terre Haute district.
One of the best jobs on the department.
It was an excellent job. I also served as a sergeant, a first line supervisor, a first sergeant at the Terre Haute district. I was the district commander there for 4 years. And most recently, as you said, I've been fortunate enough to be promoted to the rank of captain, where I serve as the Central Field Operations Commander, work with the troopers in the Terre Haute, Putnamville, Indianapolis, Connorsville, and Pendleton districts. And also a part of those duties is being here at the track.
Getting here at the track. And that brings us to our topic, and what we want to talk about is what the different things the state police do at the Indianapolis 500, at the Motor Speedway in general. And probably the first place to start talking about it is the planning that's involved to prepare for such an event like this. What kind of planning goes into this?
You know, David, there's a monumental amount of planning actually, and the planning for the event actually begins the day of event for the next year.
So fully a year in advance.
Without a doubt. The different Indiana State troopers that we have in charge of different locations and different activities that we take care of at and around the Speedway. Each submit a report to the Central Field Operations Office outlining what went well on their detail, things that would have helped them, and then during the next year we go about working toward making improvements to better serve the citizens, the fans that attend the events here.
Well, in talking about that, I know that the state police does not work in a vacuum of preparing for an event like this. What other public safety agencies do we work with to make this a successful event for the fans?
And there's many public service agencies around that take part. In terms of law enforcement, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway staff does an excellent job of bringing the 4 primary police departments together, those being the Indiana State Police, the Marion County Sheriff's Department, the Indianapolis Police Department, and the Speedway Police Department. Again, they get us together at meetings that begin every year in February, where we talk about the issues, where we talk about what each department is going to do, their part of the detail, and how we can work well together with the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and each other to accomplish that. And these days, important to those 4 law enforcement agencies is the Indiana Department of Transportation. They have technology these days that allows us to see different situations around the track in real time and be able to set together and make decisions about how we can make improvements immediately to enhance the travel and safety as well.
I know that they just recently opened their traffic management center, which also houses the state police post in Indianapolis. And with the message board systems that they have and the portable ones that they put in place, they can actually control those and change the messages within just a matter of seconds.
Without a doubt. And those 4 primary police departments that we talked about work as the event is unfolding with the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the Indiana Department of Transportation to utilize all that technology to make this a safe event and an expeditious travel event for everyone in attendance.
Now, when you look at the things that happen with the race and the pre-race events and then actually getting all of the traffic in, what recommendations and what special obstacles do you have to look at for getting the traffic in? And then we'll talk about getting them out after the race is over.
Well, and without a doubt, an event like this where there's that amount of traffic, it's going to take some time, both coming in and going out. And we encourage everyone to plan for that time. Make certain that the planning is such that there's no reason to be in a hurry and you're mentally prepared for that type of trip. And we have to remember that particularly on this 500 event, we're talking about a holiday weekend, so there's more traffic anyway. So we encourage everyone traveling to and from the track to do those things that we're always concerned about. Take time, don't follow too closely, don't speed, certainly don't drive a vehicle after consuming alcohol or any other drug, and without a doubt get that seatbelt on so that if someone makes a mistake, you can live to tell about it. In addition to that, you know, we talked about the 4 police departments coordinating efforts and directing traffic at different locations.
And mention those departments again.
Yes, the Indiana State Police, Marion County Sheriff's Department, Indianapolis Police Department, and Speedway will all be directing traffic somewhere around this facility. And as people travel to or from, it may seem like, that's not exactly the route that I want to take. But the bottom line is that planning that we talked about, there is a method here, and
the method to the madness of getting people in and getting them back out.
So be patient with us and realize that we do have a plan, and if you will follow our direction, you will get easily in and easily out, taking into consideration the amount of traffic that we're dealing with.
Well, aside from the issue of getting people in and getting them out of the track, so much, it goes without saying, has changed in our country since September 11th, 2001. And how does that translate to security issues? And I know there are some things that you can't talk about in detail.
Sure.
But generically, what kind of security precautions are taking place now?
Certainly it is more of a consideration, and again, as a part of all that planning that we do with those agencies in Indianapolis Motor Speedway, those are considerations, and we do have things in place to take those into consideration and do a better job in terms of being aware.
What do you see as the biggest issue that you confront with? Is it the coordinating the manpower? Is it the actual getting everybody into the track? Is it getting people out of the track? What's your primary concern?
You know, I really think the primary concern is getting the traffic in and out, because just as Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the Indiana State Police has done this for a lot of years. My staff, I have an excellent administrative sergeant that works with me, Irv Falk. I believe you'll be talking to him
Matter of fact,
shortly.
after our next commercial
That's
break,
correct.
we're going to talk to Sergeant Falk.
And a Secretary Paula Bell, that we'll get the detail put together, and cooperation of those departments with NDOT and IMS is such that we'll get the job done along the lines of traffic direction, and if everybody will just be patient with us, it'll be safe for everyone.
Well, let's take a moment to look into the future. You know, we've got the 500, then shortly after that, the next race event coming up, I think, is the Formula.
That's correct this year.
And basically the same operation again then?
It is. The number of attendees won't be the same as for the 500, or certainly for the Brickyard. There'll be fewer. However, the traffic plan will be similar. Our staffing will be similar. And certainly the planning and safety issues we're just as concerned about for that event.
And then flash forward to the first weekend of August, we had the Brickyard 400. The attendance on there rivals the 500 attendance.
Without a doubt. So that'll be another challenge for us. But, you know, as we talked about before, my staff, as well as the police departments and IMS, we're already working on that race also. So we'll get the job done. Everybody be patient, and we'll get you here safely and home also.
Well, Captain, thank you so very much for taking time out of your
having
busy schedule. And I want to encourage you to stay tuned. We're going to go to a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to meet the right-hand man to Captain Hartman, and that is Sergeant Irv Falk, who's going to tell us about what his involvement is in helping to coordinate to make sure things go well and that it's a safe event, a pleasant event for everyone that comes out to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, whether it's for the 500, for the Formula race, or for the Brickyard 400. So stay tuned. We'll be right back just after this commercial break.
Tens of thousands of campers have graduated from State Police Youth Camp since 1970. The department and service clubs unite a diversified team of individuals who care about today's youth. Through a mix of fun and learning experiences, staff members teach a cross-section of young Hoosiers the key to gaining respect is self-discipline. The key to a successful career is training and education, and the key to achieving one's goals is positive self-esteem. Students can learn all of these attributes at an Indiana State Police Youth Services camp. For more information on any of the camps, call 317-899-8293 or call toll-free in Indiana 1-888-477-9688 or visit the Indiana State Police website.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying tuned with us. If you're just joining us in the middle of the program, we are here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and we've been talking about the state police law enforcement function of what we do to hopefully make this a pleasant event for all involved, people that come to see the race, people that have to drive around through the city that maybe aren't participating in the race, and the things that we are involved in along with other law enforcement agencies, the City Police, Indianapolis Police Department, Speedway Police Department, and the Marion County Sheriff's Department, to make this a pleasant environment for all. If you've been with us for the whole program, you heard Captain Mark Hartman in our first segment as we were talking about his aspect of it in being the person in charge, that everything falls to him. The buck stops with the captain. But along with every captain, he's got a great right-hand man, and that man is standing here with me now, and that's Sergeant Irv Falk. And Sergeant Falk has been participating in a number of the races in the planning aspect of it for a number of years. And right now, I'm going to turn the mic over to Irv. And Irv, first of all, thanks for being here.
All right.
Appreciate you taking time from your schedule. I know this is a busy time of the year for you getting ready for the 500.
Yes.
But before we talk about that specifically, I'd like people to know more about you, what you did before coming on the state police, and what your assignments were since coming on the department.
I was raised in Hazelwood, west of Indianapolis, small town. Went to Cascade High School. I decided to go to Indiana University. I got a bachelor's degree while I was there. I became a police officer with the Indiana University Police. Did that for 2 years, and then as soon as I finished with my degree requirements, I started with Indiana State Police.
So, and what year was that you came on?
I come in 1983.
1983. And what was your first assignment?
My first assignment was at Putnamville District, which is 3 counties just west of Marion County. I was a trooper in Putnam County, and then after 2 years, I went to Hendricks County. And following that, I spent the next 14 years being an instructor for a first responder, doing criminal interdiction, actually instructing police officers throughout the state of Indiana for standardized field sobriety testing. And then about 5 years ago, I put in to be a sergeant to assist the captain in field enforcement.
So, and with those duties, you find yourself having to plan for a lot of events that happen here, not just the Indianapolis 500, but you've got 2 other races. You've got the state fair. So you're a pretty busy man, especially in the summer months.
Yes, I am. I lose my summers.
So like a school teacher that gets the summers off, you have to work them. So in the winter, you don't do anything, do you?
No, that's not the way it is. I'm always planning.
I know it. Just giving you a little rib there, put you on the spot. When we come back and we're talking about the issue here of the Indianapolis 500 and the planning that goes in for it, what's one of the biggest concerns for you from your aspect administratively?
Well, I have to deal with all the state police posts throughout the state. What I'm wanting is a minimum of 300 troopers to actually assign at I believe I have right now about 51 different traffic locations. I have the infield to contend with as far as getting the assignments there. My ultimate goal, just as Captain Hartman said, was we need to make sure we got the right people, the right amount of people to actually get traffic in here safely, and make sure we can actually do it in a safe manner and try to do it complaint-free, actually.
Well, and a way to put that into context is the Indiana State Police is comprised of approximately 1,200 enforcement personnel. So when you're needing 300, we're talking about 25% of the department.
Yes, we are.
And are most of the people that come to work the race, do they typically volunteer, or are they recruited or assigned?
Well, right now I run about 70% of the troops that actually volunteer to come to the Indy 500 and the other races want to actually be here. The others is the district commanders actually say that you're going to actually be at the
I got
race.
a job for you. Huh?
Yes.
So you've been selected. You should be proud to know that you've been selected for this. So now, aside from getting the manpower, some things that people that come to the race probably don't think about, there's a lot of logistical work because you've got those 300 people coming in. Obviously, they're not from around this area. The races, the hotel accommodations are a premium event, but the troopers have to have a place to stay too. Talk a little bit about some of that background work that goes into the actual implementation of the race day.
Well, as Captain Hartman said, my planning starts the day the race starts on the previous year. So therefore, I have a race book. I'm actually taking notes as the actual race events are occurring, and I'm actually thinking how to make this race better. Plus, I'm looking and getting feedback from the troopers working the race, seeing if they like the housing that I've actually picked this year. If they have a complaint about the housing on the current year, then I'm sitting there, maybe I need to be changing housing. I'm also looking at seeing if our radio system is what we need, or is it working right to actually communicate with Speedway Police Department, Indianapolis Police Department, Marion County Police Department. And a lot of my job during the race is getting feedback from everybody else.
So do the troopers say, like, this year we'd like to stay at the Canterbury?
No, it doesn't work that way.
So, but the hotels they put up are nice hotels, and it's an aspect of, you've got to be concerned about their comfort so that they're well rested, so that they're able to perform their duties when they get to work.
Right. During the last year, we actually used the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy to keep the troopers. And what we found out was there was 3 to a room, and when we all have to be here at the same time on those dates, there's no way for us to actually have 3 units sleeping in one room on 3 different beds and actually using.
They didn't want to shower together, did they?
Correct.
So,
okay. I mean, it took them time to get here, and it was just a logistical problem that we said we were going to limit to 2 units.
Now, before coming into the capacity that you serve now, you worked a number of races, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
So, talk a little bit about the changes. You know, you hear people talk about the quote unquote the good old days of the snake pit, which really that doesn't exist anymore, and I don't think that anybody really misses it. But talk about some of the transitions that you've seen from working it as a trooper to now helping to administrate it.
It's totally changed because it's so much more family oriented. Before, back in 1984, when I actually started being assigned to the race itself, there was a lot more, I believe, a lot more alcohol, a lot more actual criminal violations occurring in the track itself. The night before detail, where we actually come out and actually do a policing detail, the night before, we was making hundreds of arrests. And now, for an example, during the Indianapolis 500 last year, I believe we made a whole 35 arrests. And at the Formula One, I think we arrested 1 person.
Well, that's remarkable when we look at the 500, because you've got how many hundreds? You've got several 100,000 people here, and like you said before, arresting hundreds of them to now just arresting 30 or 40. With those, I imagine one of the primary things are alcohol violations, public intoxication.
Yes.
But what other types of criminal activity occur?
Well, the biggest problem we had last year was, and it only happened twice, was people actually laying down their purses while they're in the restroom or their coolers, and we had an individual actually going in and grabbing their purse.
Crime
Yes.
of opportunity.
Yes, and then the night before, what we found was occurring was there's probably a little bit more prevalence as far as drugs that was occurring, but we've been able to, I believe, get a handle on that also.
Now, if somebody is so unfortunate to attract the attention of one of the law enforcement agencies, be it the state police, the sheriff's department, the city police, or the Speedway Police Department, and they get arrested, I imagine there are some logistical concerns there how do they get processed?
Well, one of the problems we had was we have 300 troopers that they do not work this area, so therefore the method we use is we use troopers and investigators from central Indiana, specifically Marion County, that can actually file the charges, and they end up processing the prisoner, and then we end up having that person transported down to the Marion County Jail. That way we know where everybody's at, we know how to process it.
Now, once they're processed and they get transported, then they're just put into the system like everybody else.
Yes, there's a phone number that we actually give the family members that they can call, and they can find out as far as bail and so forth.
So if you were going to give any words of advice for people that are coming out to experience the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, be it for the 500 or one of the other races, what would that be?
I believe your goal should be here to come to have a good time. You're actually going to have a lifetime experience and enjoy yourself.
I think you put it pretty well. Well, I want to thank you very much for taking time to be here with us today, and I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule because I know how very busy you are.
Thank you.
I'd like you to stay tuned for us. So we're going to be taking another break as we go to another commercial break. When we come back, we're going to wrap this all up. And again, thank you for watching the Indiana State Police Cable Program.
Do you see a study group? Then you see the power of community coalitions. They help community groups fight to keep kids away from drugs. Visit helpyourcommunity.org, where you and your group can learn more about community coalitions.
Welcome back to our program, and the next time you see these bricks, it's going to be when a race car is coming across here at a high rate of speed, claiming their victory, be it for the Indianapolis 500, for the Formula race, or the Brickyard 400. Whichever race it is, the Indiana State Police and other law enforcement agencies will be here to help make it a safe environment for you and for your family coming into the track and leaving the track. And I would leave you with this closing comment, as said by one of our guests that was here today, Captain Hartman and Sergeant Irv Falk. Sergeant Falk says it best himself, "I know I've done my job when I make the captain look good and people go home safe, happy from the Indianapolis 500. Thanks for joining us on the Indiana State Police Cable Program. We hope to see you back again watching future programs. We'll be talking about things about public safety, nature. Until then, please remember to stay buckled up. The life you save may be your own or that of somebody you love. I'm Dave Burston for the Indiana State Police. Goodbye.